lot of people have this misconception about the role of motivation, and it causes a lot of people who may have these goals, ambitions, and things that they want to do in life. They think that they have a motivation problem and that something is wrong with them, when the truth is there's nothing wrong with them. They just don't understand the role of motivation. And I used to be there too. When I really started becoming more ambitious and wanting to do things and set some goals for myself, I had these big goals and I was like, okay, this is the actions that I'm going to take to achieve these things. And for the first few days or first few weeks or so, I'd be very motivated. I'd really be pushing myself and it felt good. I still felt very motivated. But after this certain point, I just didn't want to do it anymore. Like at some part of me obviously was like, okay, yeah, well, this is still something that you want to do. But when it came to actually taking the action, just like, I didn't feel like doing it. And a lot of people, when they experience something like this, they think that they have a motivation problem. Oh, something's wrong with me and I just can't stay motivated long enough to achieve my goals. In my experience, motivation isn't supposed to last you the whole way, especially for long-term goals. And I like to use an analogy as motivation being like a match. You know those little sticks where you like strike it against the box and then it creates fire? This is essentially what motivation has been in my life. It's the initial fire that starts the action, that fuels the fire in the beginning. But if you rely on just this match, eventually over time, very quickly, the match goes out. So then the question becomes, well, how do you keep the fire going? Well, you have to use that match to light some fuel, whether it's like some wood or oil or whatever, just to keep that fire going. Because again, the match isn't going to last forever. That motivation, that initial spark of motivation isn't going to last forever. You've got to add some fuel to the fire so you can keep the fire going. Now, what is that fuel? From my perspective, it has always been taking action towards the achievement of that goal. And it's definitely the hardest part that I've experienced when it comes to achieving goals and like trying to go out and do things. Because at first, when you're adding fuel to the fire, taking that action, it doesn't feel like you're going anywhere. Like you see the progress that you've made and it just doesn't feel like you're ever going to get there. It seems so far ahead. But when you just keep adding that fuel to the fire, when you keep taking action in spite of that, eventually the fire gets bigger and bigger and bigger because it has more and more fuel. And then it gets to the point where for some of the things that I'm trying to achieve, I've taken so much action. I've added so much fuel to the fire where I can't even imagine stopping now because the fire is just so big. There's so much fuel. There's so much action I've taken. So it's just not even a question of whether I'm going to achieve it or not. It's just a matter of time and, how much more action I take. I know especially when it comes to taking on new goals and trying to achieve new things, it can be very difficult and demotivating because, after that initial spark of motivation goes away, you just don't have that belief in yourself that you'll be able to do it, or it's mostly a self-trust thing where you may not trust yourself to be able to take the actions that is necessary to achieve that goal. So what I practically suggest is that you just become aware that, hey, motivation isn't going to last forever. And that's completely normal. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you. It's just something that happens. And this is what separates the people who have these goals, have these ambitions, but don't actually achieve them because they think, hey, motivation is supposed to last me the whole way. And it doesn't. Versus the people who understand, hey, motivation is just this initial spark. But if I really want to achieve this, if I really want to go for it, I just have to go through this period of like kind of slog where it's just going to be hard for a while. It's just going to be very difficult. But I promise you, as you keep taking that action, as you keep adding fuel to the fire will become bigger and bigger and bitter. And because you've added so much fuel to the fire, it becomes harder and harder to put it out. I hope that this video has given you some new insights and maybe helped you along your journey. If it did, leave a like and subscribe. Peace out.